This past week, interest rates moved lower, approaching levels last seen in March. Let's discuss why and look into what lies ahead in this week's Mortgage Market Update. 3, 2, 1, none? At the recent Fed meeting, the big surprise was Fed Chair Powell's suggestion that there would no longer be a rate cut in 2024, 2 less than previous forecasts just 3 months ago. Now, why the change of heart? The Fed now sees inflation running hotter than expected, and for this reason, they only see one possible rate cut this year. However, despite the Federal Reserve being correct about the higher for longer path of interest rates over the last couple of years, the financial markets and many on Wall Street see the Fed cutting twice. One could be as soon as September, followed by another in November. Seeing will be believing, as nobody has been able to predict the path forward for interest rates with any sort of certainty. So why the disconnect? The economy is decelerating, and there are more signs that the consumer is slowing its spending. Consumer spending makes up 2/3 of our economic growth. So if the consumer retreats, our economy can't grow. And if our economy is not growing, unemployment rises and a recession follows. A scenario where the consumer retreats and unemployment rises faster than expected would be a worst-case scenario for the Fed. They are trying to engineer a soft landing where they keep rates higher for longer and slowly lower interest rates with little disruption to economic activity. The canary in the coal mine? If consumer spending is critical to economic growth, then retail sales is an important figure to watch. This past week, the headline number for retail sales was very disappointing. It also included a downward revision to previous figures. But the most concerning part is when you adjust retail sales for inflation. In doing so, we learn that real retail sales have turned negative, meaning we are not buying more goods, we are just simply paying more for them. History has shown that when real retail sales are flat and turn negative, it ultimately leads to a recession. On the housing front in May, both housing starts and permits came in well below expectations. The soft reading highlights the impact of elevated rates and affordability restraining building activity. Upon anticipated rate relief from a slowing economy and Fed rate cuts, this story can and likely will change. Just look around. With all the noise and revisions from economic reports, sometimes it's good to just look around and see what's happening and get a sense of the economy. For instance, in recent weeks, McDonald's, Starbucks, and other corporations have installed value meals or reduced priced offerings to attract consumers. In the case of Starbucks, they recently reported a decline in foot traffic. The Fed wants to see this as it helps lower inflation, but they also do not want to see too much of it, as it could lead to a recession down the road. Unexpected weakness. The Fed says rates are higher for longer unless they see unexpected weakness in the labor market. As we continue through the summer, we need to track the labor market readings closely. If they show unexpected weakness, that will likely be the deciding factor for the Fed to cut rates sooner and maybe more than they recently suggested. At the moment, initial claims, which is a leading indicator of the health of the labor market, is showing a large weekly increase in people filing for first-time unemployment benefits. Also, within the latest jobs report, we are seeing hires and quits near pre-pandemic levels as they continue to decline. Bottom line, the weakness shown in the labor market and economic reports are somewhat welcomed by the Fed, as they feel this will continue to push inflation lower. Moving forward, it would not be a surprise to see continued gradual improvement in rates as the economy continues to slow. Inflation continues to decline and central banks begin to lower rates. Now looking ahead, this week brings the Fed's favorite gauge of inflation, the Core Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, or PCE. This reading is expected to come in at 2.6% year over year, not that far above the Fed's goal of 2%. However, just a couple of weeks ago, the Fed acknowledged and is forecasting that this inflation reading will not improve any further for the rest of the year. Hence, the reason why the Fed is saying they will only cut rates once this year. However, if this reading comes in surprisingly low, it could change the outlook for the Fed very quickly. Now, as we wrap things up here is a peek at current mortgage rates to start the week. Feel free to hit the pause button for the details. And as always, thanks for hanging with me for this week's Mortgage Market Update. Be sure to like, comment, and share. I'm always here to help, and I look forward to funding your future. Have a great week.